Greetings, all! Today, we'll be examining the uncommon grass-type Pokemon Maractus, the Cactus Pokémon. Though they might look and act a bit silly to some, Maractus are entertaining plants that can more than shake their groove thing and make themselves into a unique opponent to have to face off against. Maractus possess green bodies with a main central stem and tufts of spiky green plant material at their base, the ends of their twin arms, the base of their neck, and the base of the tube-like plant outgrowths that adorn their head. They have a series of yellow spines that adorn their head, the sides of their head outgrowths, and the ends of their arms, the last of which act as fingers that they can manipulate objects with. They have large yellow eyes and a smiling, zigzagging mouth, while the outgrowths on their head have bright pink flowers at the ends with yellow centers, and are a constant feature on their form at all times of the year. While Maractus might share some relative relation to the members of the Cacnea family, they are much more closely related to traditional plants and thus live a fairly simple lifestyle compared to their contemporaries. Unlike those creatures, Maractus do not have abilities or features that make them immune to the effects of sandstorms, and this is primarily because they tend to live in desert environments where such vile weather conditions are few and far between, or at the very least are rarely so extreme that they need some sort of ability like Sand Veil in order to constantly protect themselves. As such, these plants behave much more similarly to normal cactuses, and their forms demonstrate this well, as the outer skin of their body has a waxy coating and a special biological adaptations that help to minimize water loss during the day, as these creatures are in fact siphons for it and sunlight, normally possessing chlorophyll and water absorb as base abilities, though those that are particularly gifted in being able to draw water from their surroundings can also have Storm Drain as a hidden ability. This works out well for these creatures, as the root fibers that enter into the ground from their base tend to be rather short, so these creatures can uproot themselves in the case of a dangerous attack, and as a further result, they tend to only exist in areas where there is plenty of groundwater to draw from, or near the rare oasis found in the middle of desert environments. In cases where these creatures face harsh conditions and a lack of water, they tend to draw moisture from the outside of their body inwards. Not only does this help to protect the blob of neural tissue that acts as their brain and their insides in general, but it also causes their forms to shrink slightly over time and their skin to harden, providing an imposing physical barrier that only the strongest of bird Pokemon can peck through. As far as the stats go, Maractus reflect this simple biology quite strongly, as the overall stats leave much to be desired, most of their base stats being below average for fully evolved grass-type Pokemon. The only exception to this is their base special attack stat, which is actually decently high and allows these creatures to make good use of their special attacks in battle to ward off attackers. Maractus thankfully have access to some powerful attacks like Petal Dance and Solar Beam to defend themselves with, but these sorts of attacks are only learned by them fairly late in life, and thus they must oftentimes rely on other forms of defense in order to protect themselves. This is imperative, as the seeds that are contained just below their flowers are extremely juicy and pumped full of water, making them a tasty treat that many bird Pokemon find to be irresistible. To combat this, these creatures have developed a fairly large hollow void in their forms below their flowers where their seeds are stored, and the seeds themselves have a very hard outer coating. When Maractus are being attacked, or even just watched by bird Pokemon that are looking to eat them for their seeds, these creatures will use their strong elastic tissue in the stem and arms to flail their bodies around in a rhythmic fashion, almost as if they were dancing. This strange movement is enough for smaller bird Pokemon to be deterred by them, but in addition to this jostling motion causes the seeds inside of them to bounce around internally and hit each other. The sound of this impact is quite audible, and it creates a sound similar to that heard from a maraca, the seeds clacking against each other rhythmically along with their dancing movements. The up-tempo beats generated as a result are usually more than enough to scare most bird Pokemon away in confusion, thus helping to keep these creatures safe from attack from all but the most intelligent and fearless of bird Pokemon. Perhaps not surprisingly, the movement of these plants has served as a basis for many different types of dances in the parts of the world they occupy, and they've become quite popular among natives of their lands as a result. This, combined with the fact that they rarely try to directly attack with the thorns on their body, makes these desert dwellers good Pokemon to make friends with, as their exotic movements and happy dispositions make them a prime choice for trainers looking to have a little fun with their Pokemon in their downtime, and definitely one of the few desert-dwelling Pokemon that trainers will more often than not be happy to run into by accident. Though they might not come off as the most dangerous of plant-based Pokemon out there, Maractus are still hardy beasts that can definitely deal out some decent damage with the powerful attacks they can eventually get access to. You might not be able to use them much in the heat of a sandstorm like you would their Cactus Pokemon contemporaries, but that does little to take away from the sheer fun one can have with them by their side. Just make sure that you keep a decent distance away from them when they are having fun with a little song and dance. Otherwise, you might need more than a bandage to help yourself if you get too close to them while they are flailing and accidentally get a thorn shoved somewhere it really doesn't belong. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always an honor to be able to speak with you all on the subject of Pokemon in a way that brings me great joy and happiness in my work. If you would like to keep tabs on past and future work, click that subscribe button, check out my work on DeviantArt, and don't be shy about following me on Twitter, where you can find pertinent announcements on upcoming work before it is officially posted. Links to both can be found in the video description. If you would like to support my work and help Miguel and I continue to produce more content for you and improve upon our presentation, please visit us at my Patreon page, which you can also find a link to in the video description.
Yeah, no.
With that, I thank you for watching and I wish you well.